Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector, and we will get started here on going over the Astra Militarum units. Thanks for bearing with me. I know a lot of people have been wanting me to start going through these unit rosters and going through the mechanics. I just wanted to get some time to play around with their forces more, do a bunch of multiplayer matches so I can try to speak intelligently about what's going on. Now, I do suspect there's probably going to be some balance issues, changes to happen on these guys, because there's definitely a awkwardness with a lot of their units here. But we'll see what happens here. I'll at least get going through some of these HQ units and other things. On today's episode, I'm going to go over how the kind of two different things. One is the battle line mechanic, because I think it's a little bit confusing. I know I was certainly confused on how it worked when I first started this. And then I'm also going to go over the momentum and command point abilities, and then I'll move my way through going through each one of the roster units here. I always kind of feel conflicted about where to put the command ability and momentum gain abilities, whether it should start out at the front or the end. And ultimately I decided to just kind of start the series off with the description of those events, because sometimes people then comment in the videos like, well, why are you not gaining momentum? What's going on here? And what does the momentum do? So it's like, let's just start off with that, and then we can build off of that knowledge as we make our way through. So the big thing with the battle line doctrine here is you have your 3 HQ commanders, and each one has different doctrines that they do. So how this works is pretty much it's kind of like a multi-step process. The first one is anyone that's within one block and touching the commander will end up getting the battle line doctrine. However, if you have people that aren't directly within one block of your commander, you can then separate them with a vehicle or an infantry, and as long as they're continually touching, it'll continue to extend on the battle doctrine. And therefore you have to decide which battle doctrine you want certain units to focus on, because unfortunately the battle doctrines don't stack. I think if they did, that would probably be way too overpowered, but you need to take into consideration which battle doctrine is happening. And what ends up happening is whoever's the highest HQ unit is the one whose battle doctrine is going to be taking over. So for the Castellan here, she has the, where'd it go? The voice of command ability here. And so what her battle line ability does is your units that are under her control will get +5 accuracy, and they'll get +1 damage. And so the battle line doctrine only takes effect at the beginning of the turn. So you have your guys in a line, and then you can spread them out, get their attacks, and then you'll want to try to reform the line somehow on whatever you think is going to be most important to get your guys going. So she'll increase damage and accuracy. Your tank commander, who is another one who has the ability, his is shock and awe, and what his battle line doctrine does is it gives you +1 range stability. And how range stability works in this game is, you see this unit has a base accuracy of 85, and you see the accuracy fall off a 10 per tile. Well, with the range stability, it just would make it so it falls off 9 per tile instead of the 10. So that's how range stability works in this game, because sometimes that's confusing to newer players. And then this guy, just instead of increasing damage by a whole number, it just increases damage by 5% by all attacks. And so you just have to decide what is. So having this guy against weapons that, have high damage output, this guy's battle doctrine is going to be much more powerful than, say, the Castellan here, who is going to help you at long ranges and then increasing damage. So having her, say, buffing up the bayonets here, who only have 8 or 7 to 10 damage, 5% of that is nothing. Whereas if you're just increasing it by whole numbers, which is almost 10%, that's where she really kind of shines, or at long range where you really need to have those higher accuracy buffs going. And then finally you have the Commissar here, and he has the benefit called Emperor's Will. And what this does is it increases momentum gains by 25%, and it gives any unit under his battle line doctrine +5% health. Now, the other thing that happens is just by no matter what doctrine everybody is under, when you have units that are in a battle line, just by definition, they'll end up getting momentum gains just because they have it. So you'll not only will you be getting 25% momentum gains with the Commissar, but you'll also be getting just some stacked momentum bonuses just by having the battle doctrine involved itself. So I'll kind of show off the kind of order of operations here to show which guys have what hierarchy, and if you're having difficulty knowing which squad is going to get what buff here. And we'll just go to our skirmish mode here. And this will allow us to look at our abilities here. So I'll just turn up a tester here. There we go. And sure, we'll go Tyranids, and let's just do a momentum build here to try to help things. Actually, that's not what I want. And so when you're playing as the Astra Militarum here, you've got the Born Soldier, which is your trait here. And what that is the Astra Militarum received Order Battle Line status when they stand in line with the HQ at the start of their turn, and we kind of went over how that works. When they have this status, they receive momentum bonuses for killing enemies, and then per momentum that you get a 0.3 critical chance per momentum that you get. So at 100, you know, you're getting 30% critical hit chances. And then when you're you get a minus 0.1% grace chance per momentum. So again, if you have 100%, which is the max, you now have a 10% less chance to do graze hits. And then the lower is mass ranks Astra Militarum are the mainstay of the Imperium's unending war machine. Individually insignificant men and women are gathered into the unrelenting mass of lasguns and bayonets. Armored artillery, the honest human grit. So we'll begin a match up here. And so as you can see here, we kind of have everybody all in a line. But I don't think I necessarily need to have these guys like that. But we'll do it. So, you know, the Castellan's likely going to be our highest rank unit here. So, you know, I'll just kind of spread some of these guys out like this. And so they're all touching. So this should extend out the battle line formation. I'm just pulling a couple of guys at a weird angle here. Or maybe I'll do it this way. Just to show that it'll work. And maybe I do kind of one at a diagonal here. So this should be buffing everybody at these angles here.
As long as I draw breath, Cadia stands.
Transport awaiting orders.
Oh, it's not giving it to me on the first turn, huh? All right.
Breath, Cadia stands.
Sentinel on the move.
I will lead from the battle line.
Wherever you need us.
All right, well, we'll kind of show it off this way then. So we'll move you over here, move you here, bring you over this way.
What next, sir?
And then we'll bring you over here. And then this following turn, we should be seeing everybody get the battle line, because you'll get a indicator at the start of the turn.
They will not hide for long.
New targets just showed up.
Alright, so now you can see this indicator on here. This is their battle line ability here. And so as you can see, the Castellan is the ranking officer, so everybody has the voice of command. So you'd be like, oh, well, you'd be getting it at a diagonal here, but you wouldn't normally have these guys getting the buff, but they are because everybody is touching. So then next time here, what I'm going to do
Rolling into action.
is I'll just have the tank commander up here.
Whose day are we rolling today, sir?
And I'll keep the Castellan out of cohesion here.
Ready to win the water. Rolling out.
but I want to bring the commissar up here too, because I think the tank commander should outrank the commissar. And therefore it should be giving the tank commander abilities. And we'll keep these guys back here because I don't want to accidentally connect them and make the castle and give the buffs. But that's how you could use these guys to buff your front line if you wanted to give them the increased damage. And the accuracy buffs would be just have this person hide way back here and then get those buffs added onto your units. So we'll just set up some Overwatch here. I think it's really gonna matter a whole lot, but we'll see what we can do here.
Fire! On my mark!
Oh, he made it all the way over there. Uh-oh.
Another threat to grind into the dirt. Hostiles!
Alright, and so, as suspected, the tank commander outranks the commissar, so now these guys have the tank commander buff here, which as you can see is the shock and awe ability. This is pretty much dead, so let's just use that. Ooh, I thought you were going to get the kill there. So I guess we'll just do that instead.
Cadia stands.
Alright, so he's over here. And so you can see now they're getting plus 25% momentum gains and plus 5 bonus health. That's his special ability. Okay, so we have our abilities here. So the first ability, kind of going backwards here, is the Death Strike Missile Strike. Missile. And so it will affect everybody who's in range, so be aware that it does do friendly fire. So it deals 135 to 80 damage with an armor piercing of 7 to all targets at the center tile, and has a 100% chance to deal 67 to 90 damage with an armor piercing of 5 to all targets in the surrounding 5 tiles. So if we end up dropping that over here, you do need to have a target to drop it on. So we'll just put it over here and we'll drop it. And it does that kind of damage. Now the important thing to know about this one is it does cost 2 action points, as you can see here. Now the level 2 ability is the Valkyrie Strafing Run, and this also does friendly fire, so just be aware of that. And it fires 9 to 12 times per tile for 3 tiles in a line, dealing 9 to 12 damage per shot with an accuracy of 85 and an armor piercing of...
Got your armor right here, sir.
So using that ability here, we'll do one here just to get a little bit of armor going. Or armor damage, I should say. So you can see, so it does like 50 damage, and it can clear tiles because it has splash. So it does pretty decent job of clearing things there. And then finally, for our tier 1 ability, I'll have to show that off on another map here because I actually don't have any infantry nearby. So give me 1 second to get that started up here. Okay, and then for the last ability here, it's the Valkyrie Transport. Select a unit to board a Valkyrie Transport. This unit can be redeployed next turn by the HQ commander and heal 10%. If disembark is not used within 3 turns, the Valkyrie will automatically lands off where it took the unit. So what you can do there is if you have somebody that's almost dead, let's say like this guy here, will want to use up his abilities. To get the most out of them here. So we'll end up like moving everybody over here, trying to buff up our melee, let's say. So we'll do something like that. And then have these guys just kind of charge in here and do a bunch of melee combat. Try to drop as many as we can. And then you can just kind of slice through these guys here.
Hold them off. Awaiting your orders.
Bring you over to here. And so now I can use this Valkyrie transport and we'll pick him up like this.
Valkyrie assisting with repositioning.
And so he is now over here, and then you have this Valkyrie disembark ability going. And so the following turn you can deploy him, or you can hold on to him for upwards of 4 turns if you needed to keep somebody alive. Now, unfortunately, they only heal 10% total, so we'll see what happens when we get this guy deployed out here.
They will be forgotten.
Alright, and now it's the following turn here, so I can end up deploying these guys over here. So as you can see, he can deploy a fairly decent amount, but it does cost an AP from your guy here to get this to deploy over here, which is kind of lame. And so you see he still has his 2 action points back here, so you can move around and capture points as you would need to in the situation. But now this guy's down an action point, so while gathering them is a free point, deploying them is not. So as you can see, it's like it's an okay ability, but nothing to really write home about for sure.
I don't need my powers.
But those are your command point abilities here. Like I said, I was kind of hoping what was going to be is you'd pick somebody up, and then the following turn you could just kick here and do like a select and then deploy them anywhere around the map, because I think that would just be a much more interesting mechanic and would definitely strongly push you to end up having to be more careful about having infantry, or encourage you to bring more infantry on these maps to then rapidly deploy these guys all over the place. I guess the thought process is it would be a little bit too overpowered, because every turn you're sitting there selecting infantry and then the following turn deploying them around to different areas of the map. So by keeping them around the tank commander, that at least puts them a little bit around here. Now on a map like this where there's these, you know, areas where you could put them over here and then deploy them over these areas because of these obstacles. I mean, there is some tactical play that it allows, but it uses up your action point the following turn, and I'd much rather have my tank commander use other abilities or my commissar use some abilities. So you just have to be really careful with how you do that. Alright, so that should give you an idea of how to use the battle line ability with each one of your HQ units and kind of decide how you need to mix and match it to help you get what you need to out of that ability. And as you can see, the command abilities are definitely very good. I don't know about the tier 1 ability. Doesn't seem great. I mean, yeah, I guess it can help you get guys out of combat and maybe slightly move them a little bit to help you do a back cap. But the fact that you have to deploy them near the commander unit really limits the utility. So I was really hoping that was going to be an ability that allows you to like just do a airdrop of a unit way on the other side of the map to help you like ninja cap ability. So I kind of was hoping that's how that was going to work out. So the fact that you have to do it near your HQ commander definitely doesn't feel good. It is a free action, so I guess you have that going for you, and it does give you a slight heal, but overall, it just seems like it's very limited utility. I really thought it was going to be a lot better than what it actually is. And as you can see with the tier 2 ability, you know, it's kind of interesting that it does like the strafing run with rockets. You'd think that would have a lot more armor piercing, but in fact only has an armor piercing of 3. So it's like it can do okay damage to like light and medium units, but against heavies it's not going to be very good. So I was really kind of hoping that one would have a slight armor piercing ability. And then the Deathmark Strike, or whatever it's called, that one's like great. That's a great ability. You know, it does significant single target damage in the center, and then it has good armor piercing even as it AoEs out away from that area. So definitely something that can be used, and I've used that on online matches to really help me guarantee a victory. And you really need to be cognizant of that when you're playing against the Imperial Guard, that they don't end up running in there and killing your own units. You don't group all your units together and then end up just getting completely obliterated by that death mark if he drops it on your face there, because you can cast that from across the map, and so therefore it can really mess you up. So be highly cognizant of that when you're doing these matchups. And hopefully this also gives you a little bit of a better understanding of how the momentum system works here. It pretty much decreases your grazes and increases your crits. So thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe. Encourage me to post more content for you. Have a great day.